And coming up next on Tuned Into Noco, I have the opportunity to speak with volunteer and operations coordinator for Noco Wildlife, Kate Boyd. So first off, Kate, thanks for joining us today. For our listeners who don't know, can you tell them what the City Nature Hike is all about?
Yeah, the City Nature Challenge is actually an international event through Inaturalist, which is an app that anybody could use on their phones to help them identify and make observations about our native species. So the City Nature Challenge in particular is a kind of jam-packed weekend where as many of us as we can, we want to get out there into nature and into our natural areas and even some of our urban areas too, and make sure that we can get as many observations as possible and to help us forward citizen science a little bit.
That's really cool. Now, I know you kind of went into it briefly, but how did Colorado get involved?
That's a good question. I think that the Northern Colorado area started to participate in the City Nature Challenge, I believe, about 3 years ago. And we have it set so it's all kind of the Larimer County area. So it's not just one city for us. We have kind of the Northern Colorado area set for our group.
And it is a competition to find out who can find the most species, right? So what was the number last year? I mean, is there a number to beat?
There's not necessarily like a number to beat exactly. And it's less about the competition and more about just having a lot of fun and making those observations and getting a chance to see some cool species. I'm not exactly sure what our numbers were for our area last year. I know that we changed our range a little bit. And it's with the city of Fort Collins is also kind of spearheading a lot of this project on iNaturalist for the City Nature Challenge. So it's all a big group team effort.
Okay. Now, to log the species, you mentioned the iNaturalist app. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, iNaturalist is a fantastic app that you can get on your phone. It's completely free, and you can use it to both search different areas around your areas. Maybe you're thinking about going on a hike and you want to see, the potential animals or plants you might see in that area. You can use the app to look on the map portion of it to see the different species in that area. You can go out, you can see an animal, even if you don't know what it is, you can take a picture of it, upload it to iNaturalist. And then if you don't know what it is, you can just post it and other people will help you identify it. They can go through, they can see those pictures and be like, oh, that looks like this species. And you can have multiple people work to confirm that to get different grades of consistency to make sure that that is truly that animal that it is. Or you can take a picture of an animal you do know, upload it, say the species that you think it is, and just add to that new data on citizen science.
Cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. Now, I noticed it's only a couple of hours, but do you have to be in pretty good shape to join this hike? Is it beginner friendly? What is the terrain like?
It is going to be very beginner friendly. The City Nature Challenge itself is actually happening all weekend from Friday to Monday. And for our hike, we are going to be at Soapstone Prairie Natural Area from 8:30 in the morning, getting up there pretty early until 11 a.m. And we're just going to be kind of moseying around. We're going to look for different species. We're going to have our spotting scopes with us. And we're going to be able to help people both spot the animals and identify them, talk about what species we might see, and make those observations on iNaturalist.
Awesome. So how should one prepare for this hike? Like, what should people plan on bringing? You guys will have...
If they have any binoculars that they want to bring, the more the merrier, but we'll have binoculars, spotting scopes, pretty much everything you would need. The only thing that we ask folks to bring is just a good pair of hiking shoes and some water to stay hydrated.
Awesome. Now, are dogs and kids allowed, or is there an age restriction?
No age requirement. We are going to ask that pets stay at home for this one. That way, if we see animals close up on the trail, we're not going to scare them in their natural habitat or anything like that.
So kind of switching gears here, let's talk a little bit about you. How did you get involved in all of this?
In the City Nature Challenge or Noco itself?
Both.
Yeah, with the City Nature Challenge, so Noco Beat is an organization that is called, the BEAT stands for Bettering Environmental Education Together. And it's a wonderful coalition of environmental educators throughout Northern Colorado. And that group was actually the one that mentioned the City Nature Challenge and got us started on participating in that for our group. And it is just an amazing event. And I've always been just a participant in using iNaturalist in general. So I kind of keep up on those events that are coming up for them. And so that's how we were able to kind of partner, get this kind of City Nature Challenge hike all planned to participate.
So what exactly does Noco Wildlife do?
Yeah, with the Northern Colorado Wildlife Center, we are an education, conservation, and of course, rehabilitation center. So we will take in animals, we will do field rescue calls for injured animals, birds, mammals, reptiles, and amphibians. We will go out, we'll do those rescues. Right now, we are only able to do the full rehabilitation services of reptiles and amphibians for that long-term care. But the birds and mammals, we can go out on rescue calls. We do have a new rescue vehicle and rescue coordinator this season. We're very excited about. So we're able to go rescue those animals, take them and do any initial care that they might need in the field before transferring them to a long-term facility for long-term care. Wow.
So you guys stay pretty busy, huh? Got a lot
Yes,
going on.
We're getting into busy season, both for our education programs and of course our rescues. So it's getting fun.
Sounds like it. Seriously. Now, is this hike a fundraiser? Are you guys going to be accepting donations?
It's not a fundraiser. It's all just to kind of get folks excited and interested in our natural species in our native area. And, if folks want to donate to our organization, we are completely, a 501c3 nonprofit. So we are totally donor and grant run for our organization. So any donations are always, of course, welcome, but definitely not required for today. We want to make sure that anybody who wants to be out there can be out there.
Absolutely. And I know everyone is probably super ready to get outside, me included, but hopefully good weather is in the cards for this hike. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it looks like it's holding up. We should have some beautiful, beautiful weather. And we're getting close enough, into early summer and spring now that we'll hopefully have a really good chance to see some awesome species out there.
So for people who would like to get more information about Noco Wildlife, how they can get involved, or the hike, where should they go?
Yeah, we are going to ask folks to sign up on our website for our hike if they would like to join us, just so we can make sure we have everybody with our group before we get started, and to make sure that we are able to split into smaller groups and keep our natural area, less high traffic in a small amount of time if we need to for a larger group. And folks can sign up on our website. Our website is just nocowildlife.org. And on our events page, we have our City Nature Challenge hike.
All right. Well, Kate, is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know?
As we get further into spring, we are starting to see for us in our wildlife center, our busy season coming up. So just having folks watch out for those animals crossing the road, any nesting birds, and keeping an eye out for fledgling birds that can't quite fly yet, but they have left the nest. Making sure any indoor-outdoor cats, if they can be inside during the season, that can definitely save a lot of species, a lot of individual animals, to keep those cats indoors for the next couple of weeks while we're seeing baby birds, baby fledglings start to leave the nest.
Well, Kate, thank you so much for joining us today. If you would like to get more information about Noco Wildlife or the City Nature Challenge hike, visit nocowildlife.org.